All right, everybody, welcome back to the Profitability Podcast. My name is Joey Albertson, and it is my absolute pleasure today to introduce you to my friend, Ness Taylor. Ness is Brightly Social Co.'s founder and director. She runs the social media management side of Brightly. And after landing what she thought was her dream job 7 years ago, she had twin girls and realized working full-time for someone else was not the right fit for her. That's when she decided to pursue her real dream and do her own thing. After working as a social media management freelancer for 3 years, she convinced her sister-in-law, Kenna, to build Brightly in 2022, which we get into later in the episode. She finds so much value in helping female business owners succeed online. It is the very best feeling seeing her clients' accounts and businesses grow. She loves brainstorming new strategies, poring over Instagram insights, and staying caffeinated all day. Other things that you should know about Ness is she is one of my very favorite people on the planet Earth. I haven't known her for that long, and we'll get into this again in the episode, but she is just a powerhouse. I mean, she's one of those people, and there's a few of these women, which I hope you'll meet over our time together, but she is definitely one of those people that when I think about surrounding myself with people I want to be like and businesses that I want to run mine like, Ness is that for me. She always has such amazing insights about marketing and social media, content creation, and she's just so freaking knowledgeable. And then despite all of that, she's just a go-getter and she just gets after what she wants. And I admire the hell out of her. So without further ado, welcome Ness Taylor from Brightly Social Co. Welcome to the Profitability Podcast. I'm Joey.
And I'm Mackenzie.
Join us as we explore success in business and life, proving that while finance may not feel sexy, profitability is.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Profitability Podcast. Today we have Ness with us.
Hi, Ness. Thanks, Becca. Ness, tell us about Ness. Who is Ness?
Who is Ness? Okay, I am a California-born and native who's living in Utah who hates the snow. I am a mom of 6-year-old girl twins and a baby boy who was a massive surprise. He's 1 now, so a little bit less of a surprise, but still sometimes I wake up still surprised. I work from my basement with my husband. I hired him 6 months ago, and I've got a remote team for Brightly of 9 other women. I have a business partner named Kenna. She is our one and only California employee, and everybody else is inside Utah, thankfully. Kenna flies out to Utah at least 6 times a year for work stuff. I'm a massive reader. I love all books in every genre, but on our account, I only share business ones usually. And let's see. All I want to do is drink caffeinated things like Diet Coke all day. I have to tell myself to drink water.
Do you actually do it? Because I don't actually do it.
Yeah, I have
I'm
water.
proud of you.
I have to drink. It's at all times. It's like one double fisting, you know?
Good job. Okay, I didn't know about you that you like all genres. I thought you were better than all of us and only read business books. So this is actually
every once in a while I actually screenshot my Goodreads to show other people that I read rom-coms and fantasy and historical fiction. I read everything. I am not a snob in any way.
I love how you're color coordinated behind you.
Yeah, my whole life. Guys, these are well, never mind, this is a podcast. I was going to show you my book Legos.
Do it. Do it. Show us.
I made this. Look how cute it is. I literally had to steal my daughter's Rapunzel hair to make the reader in the chair actually look like me. So my life.
So if you're listening on Spotify or somewhere else, Ness has a little Lego set that's a little bit like a little library of books. It's so cute.
So cute.
And color coordinated bookshelves that are worth checking out on YouTube. It's worth pulling this episode up on YouTube because it's very aesthetically pleasing.
My goal in life is to have so many books in one room that we can't call it anything but a library. It's not an office. It's not a study. It's a library.
Just a library.
Love it.
And then here's my business side, and then you can't see my other non-business side, but it's not nearly as extensive. So very, very well done. What are you reading right now?
I'm writing, what am I reading right now? A Louise Penny murder mystery and the 10X book, not 2X. Oh, I can't think of the author's name right now. And you know who I'm talking about, Joey.
It's Cardone, because I have it right here. The 10X rule?
Yep.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite book in the last year? Let's say in the last year, because I know you read a lot.
Oh, that's hard. I love A Place for Us, but that's not a business book. Let me give you a business book.
It doesn't have to be a business book. We'll take either. We're big readers.
I really love The
Place for
Creative
Us.
Act by Rick Rubin. That was really good. That got me really thinking about my business more in a creative place than in a strategic place, which is normally where I'm at.
Oh, okay, we'll just do a book episode for everybody. No, I love it. That's awesome. Becca's mad at us because last year, Kenzie and I were in our book reading, like we were plowing through books last year, like an obscene amount of books. And Becca was like, nah, I'm not really a big reader. Like, I don't know. Well, then we finally converted Becca to become a reader. And now Kenzie and I have kind of stepped back from reading. And Becca's like, oh my gosh, you made me start doing this. And now you guys, I can't even talk to you about it. Yeah. I will say my copy of Fourth Wing is arriving today because I gotta get into it again just for Becca.
Oh, Iron Flame was so good.
See, okay, I'm actually reading 5 books at any given time, but that sounds intense to tell.
My max is 2. I cannot read more than that. I'm reading 2 right now too.
Okay, well, I'll let you know what I think of Iron Flame after this, Becca.
Ness will join our little internal book club because Rebecca's feeling abandoned. It's fine. It's fine. We love reading. Sometimes there's just a lot going on. I saw this quote though the other day. It was like, basically the point is that reading is like exercise for your brain, which is so cliche, but I read that and I was like, it really, like, I am so much smarter when I'm reading. And it doesn't even have to be business all the time, although business, I think, gets me there faster than like a rom-com. But I think it's just funny how, like, I'll read a book and then my next call, I'm pulling something from that book that I just read. So it really is good for me. I just need to prioritize it. Anyways, we're not here to talk about books. We're here to talk about Brightly Social Co. because what you've built is pretty freaking amazing, especially the fact that you've done it as a mom of young kids, twins especially. I mean, I know you well enough to know that it hasn't been an easy ride, but you're killing it. So tell us about Brightly Social and what you do for people.
Yeah, so Brightly Social Co. is a social media management and brand design agency. We specialize in those 2 things. And I started freelancing when I had my twins. So that was kind of the birth of Brightly Social Co. But then it was really uncreatively Ness Taylor LLC. And I'm really embarrassed about that. No one knows that Brightly Social Co. is a DBA, but it's fine. It's fine.
Oh my gosh, secret's out.
It's actually been through quite a few iterations. With my first intern, it was JT Media Marketing. And then when I called up Kenna in January of 2022 to pitch her to start a business with me, I was like, we'll just DBA it. We'll just come up with a new name. And that was when Brightly Social Co. came around. So it's been through a few iterations, but we are currently...
Who hasn't, though? Like, I feel like it's better to go through a few iterations than be married to some name that you don't love. So
yeah, and I couldn't be Ness Taylor LLC. That would kill me. At one point, my email was literally janessa@janessataylor.com. Like, stop. Like, just, it's so bad.
I love, especially because you don't even go by Janessa.
I know, I go by Ness.
You go by Ness.
I know, so many things that I did wrong at different stages, but that's okay. That was a pretty small one.
Yes, that's a small learning curve. Cool. Okay, and tell us what you do. I mean, you did a little bit, but give us the nitty-gritty.
So the nitty-gritty of social media management is that we are not someone who helps you with your social media management. We are someone who does it all for you. So everything from your strategy and your post concepts to coming in and getting the content for you, of you, and then creating your content. Really, the only thing we ask of our clients at this stage is to edit and improve their content. So it is a all done for you process that I've worked on for so many years. So it's really seamless now and it's really pretty, and I use really great systems and I'm really proud of it. We just dropped ads. We used to be all organic and I was a snob about that for a while. But I have figured out when and how I like to use ads, and I'm pretty specific about it. And that is where my husband comes into Brightly. He runs ads for our social media management clients. And Kenna does all things brand and web design. And she does these really beautiful, fully custom brands and then fully custom websites. She doesn't use templates, and she has such a creative eye. And she asks the best questions to really get at the root of who you are and who your business is, so that she can really design something that is all, it just like encapsulates you and your brand. It's so good. It's so good. So those are our three main services.
And I want to get into the story of you both pitching to Ness, to Kenna, and to your husband, because I think it just speaks to your personality so well. Like, the word tenacity is coming to mind, but I hate that word. But like, we're gonna get into that because I love those stories. But I got an email from you the other day that just went out to your audience, and it says, the subject is, so Brightly will just help you with my social media, and then the preview is like, not quite. I'm so glad you asked. And I have referred back to that email probably 10 times because I think that the copy is literally so brilliant. But there's so much about Brightly encapsulated in that one email of, no, we're not here to just tell you how to do it. We're also not total amateurs that are just somewhat good at social media. No, we are like your social media team and your brand and web design team. And we're combining both of those things to make some really brilliant marketing for your company. And if you don't follow Brightly Social on Instagram, go follow them. That was a horrible English, but go follow them, because you'll just see from their own Instagram how seamless and beautiful it really is. And the idea of handing something over, the stage in business where you've been bootstrapping everything and you don't want to hire internally, but you know you need to grow, and marketing's probably the first on the list. It's so nice to just be like, wait, how much is it going to cost me to just have you do it for me? And now it's completely off my plate. Like, not that much. It's pretty amazing. Like, very exciting stuff. So, anyways, huge fans. Obviously, we're huge fans. Let's talk about that first conversation with Kenna and why you called her to pitch her on starting a business with you, and what was going through your head, and what did you want to accomplish?
So it was the beginning of 2022, and a client reached out with a massive contract, and I was already at my capacity for what I could handle alone. And I had an intern that was helping me, but only for like 10 or 15 hours a week. And I really didn't want to say no. I was like, okay, well, and they weren't just offering me one contract, they were offering me two. So two of the biggest contracts I'd ever seen. And the only thing I could think of was to hire, but I had to hire someone that I trusted, and I had to hire someone that had skills I didn't have. And one of my biggest, it's now not a well-kept secret, I'm really bad at graphic design, like horrible at it. And as a social media manager, that's a really bad thing to not be. I am awesome at writing, I'm awesome at video, I'm awesome at like coming up with great creative ideas, but when it comes to making something look beautiful in Canva or Adobe, I do not have the eye, and I've been really working on it, but I'm only average now with Kenna's help, thankfully. So I knew that I needed to reach out to Kenna. She was the first person on my mind because she is a great graphic designer and I trust her really well. She is my sister-in-law. And so pitched her at a baby shower. And I do understand that this is not my best move. I should have waited until after the baby shower. But we could call this tenacity or just excitement and impatience. But I just really needed to know what she would say. And it was literally Kenna's sister's shower. Like, how rude am I? That I couldn't
Amazing.
get the privacy to the time to enjoy your sister's shower. So I dropped that bomb in the middle of a meeting or the shower saying basically, hey, I think you should join me. Like, your job is not good enough for you. Like, come on, like, leave. And this was like the first full-time job Kenna had really liked. She was in a good spot. She looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, I think about it for 5 days. Just 5. Just, it's fine. Think about it. I said yes to those other 2 contracts.
Anyways,
Anyway,
regardless of her answer, you were like, yes.
I was like, we're going to figure this out. And I don't know why I was so confident that I got her. Honestly, I think now looking back, like, it's crazy that Kenna said yes. But Kenna said yes, as you all know, now that she's all over anything Brightly related. That was a huge step for Brightly in that, like, having someone join me who was really good at all the things I wasn't good at, like, really catapulted Brightly further into spaces that I was really excited to grow into. So yeah, that is the Kenna joining Brightly story.
I love it. Tell us, let's back up to before that. Tell us how you got into this business. How did you get those first few freelance clients? Like, what inspired this business as a whole? Because it sounds like by the time you're pitching Kenna, you've got clients underneath you. You kind of know what you're going to do. So tell us how you got to that point.
So when I had my girls, I was working full-time for a nonprofit as a social media manager. I was running an account with over 1 million followers. Like, I was really loving my job. But having twins was a bit of a shock. I thought it was just, just feeding one kid, and I thought I'd be fine. But when I found out it was twins, I was pretty overwhelmed. And there were no part-time openings at my job that I was working at. So I quit, and like within the same week started as a consultant. I just like set up my business. And I was like, you know what? I'll just pick up contracts and either do the social media myself or consult people. And my first like go-to that I could think of in business was to reach out to everybody I knew. So I reached out to everybody I knew, and that is how I started grabbing my first contracts. It was all referral based, and we were referral based until June of 2022. I did not market my business at all. I just kept it quiet and did my own thing until it joined me, and that's when we started marketing.
Thinking back about that first ask of like reaching out to everybody you knew.
Yeah, that was terrifying. I hated that.
Yeah, I'm like, that
was so scary.
Like a lot. It also sounds like, I mean, if you were in a place where you had to do that again, would it look different? Do you think about that email and like just go, wow, I can't believe I did that? Or are you like, dang, like, I can't believe I did that? How does that sit with you now, knowing what you know and doing what you do?
I have only gained greater appreciation for referrals and working through the people you know. Like, your relationships and networking are gold mines. And I look back at that, and yeah, I probably would word it differently and with a bit more confidence now. I think I was doing more of a like, just in case if you ever hear of anybody, like, I think I added a lot of those words that I really hate now. But I really just look back fondly on the little Ness of 2018 starting out. I think that was a good move on my part.
I'm sitting here thinking about things I said yes to and things that Kenzie and I did on day one, when we were first starting out just to get business. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, gross. I can't believe I did that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe that I did that. But I love the idea and the attitude of like, yeah, but that person got me here. What if I hadn't done that? And so, yeah, I mean, good for you for still feeling like, yeah, oh, well, I just did it and look what it brought me, even though I wouldn't do it the same or whatever, right? Yeah. So cool. Okay. And then, so you bring in Kenna and then a few other people.
The next year we hired 4 women. And then, oh, that's not even accurate. There are random drips. It just like We haven't lost anybody yet since we started hiring. Everyone just stays. I don't know when that ends, but for right now, we have a really good.
Yeah, that's
We've
awesome.
had a few interns who just had a 4-month stint or a 6-month stint, but anyone who's been hired is still here. So we are now a team of 11 right now.
Incredible. And your last and most recent hire, as far as I know.
Almost. We hired 2 women this summer, but Chad is my husband and he's the only boy on our team. We refer to him as Ken, and he joined us in March, and he came from American Express. He worked there for 7 years. He's a finance bro, but not really. He's very kind and doesn't give off tool vibes, I promise. And he came in and took all the other things that Kenna didn't take that I'm not that great at. Things like payroll and HR and IT stuff. And then ads, I make all the creatives with Kenna, all the actual content. But Chad is the one pulling all the strings with the audience testing and the A/B testing, making it all seamlessly work. So that I probably feel is like my biggest accomplishment of Brightly. We hired 10 women and I've hired my husband, and that just feels really good.
Let's actually talk about this. Hiring your husband isn't just like, hey, this is fun. Let's work together. It's like you are making enough as a business to replace what your husband was making. And your husband is not just some guy who stands on the corner and collects a few dollars. Like, he's working for American Express. Like, Chad is legit. I've actually met him. We forgive him for being a finance bro. He's a good guy. Like,
having the name Chad.
He's in the club. Despite the fact that his name is Chad, he's in the club. And you have taken your business to a place where you can not only hire 10 women, but replace your husband's income to a point where it makes sense for him to come over. I need you to just share the story of you petitioning him to come over because, like I said, I think it's hysterical and also really freaking awesome.
So this has been a long time coming. I would call this the best drip campaign that I've ever pulled off, because a solid 2.5 years ago, I started saying, like, wouldn't it be fun if you worked for Brightly? And then, like, every month I dropped that at least. Of like, wouldn't it be cool? Think of like how you could take this task and then this task. And I ultimately wrote up Chad's role and was like, here are all the things you could do. Because one of Chad's doubts was that he could actually contribute enough to Brightly for it to make sense for him to be there. So I designed a whole role around it, gave him a title, and then we hit this point after we had our third kid where Chad from American Express gets 20 weeks of parental leave. So Chad didn't work for 20 straight weeks. And I was like, see, right now, like, look at this lifestyle we have. You could join me when, like, during our nanny hours working, and this would all be really flexible. And it was just like kind of this dream that we talked about. And he went, no, now's not the right time, and went back to work. But he was kind of softened because he like saw what it could be during his parental leave. And so we did a brainstorming session, those massive Post-its that are posters. We put it up and I said, what are all the things that need to happen for you to quit American Express? And we wrote every single one down. And I said, I think all of these can happen in 100 days. And he was like, yeah, right. And I was like, no, 100 days. So 100 days from then was March 15th. And all of them happened but one by March 15th. And at that point, even my very risk-averse husband couldn't deny that it was a good move. So he quit. Actually, before his last day at work was March 15th. So he put in his 2 weeks notice a little bit before that. And it was a very big moment for us.
This is why I love this story and why, like, it's still, I can see how, since I've heard this story, it's even affected things that I've done in my business, which is one of the reasons that I just love you and love being around you, is you'll drop stories like that and I'll be like, wait, I can just ask for what I want. And I know it's not that easy, right? Like you didn't just ask 10 times, but you like wrote all these things out and you made a plan and you put a deadline together and like obviously you worked really hard at this. But the fact that it even occurred to you to ask after hearing the word no once and you were just like, let's just try again. And let's just maybe try again after that. And then what if I put this plan in front of his place? Oh, I'm having a stroke. What if I put this plan in front of his face and just see? Like, I'm just going to put it out there and see. And I just love that you, number one, didn't even think about giving up. You were like, no, but seriously, like, I already know what it's going to work out and how it's going to look and how awesome it could be. And obviously, it's totally up to you, but like, I'm going to keep trying until you say yes. Because, like, one of my favorite things about you, I love that you just are not afraid to go for it 110% until it happens for you. Like, you don't take no for an answer, even with your husband.
I'm pretty.
I don't know if Chad feels the same way, but I think it's pretty badass.
The thing is, and what I didn't clarify here, is that Chad always dreamed of being an entrepreneur, but saw having kids as a factor, like that the window had passed. He was like, no, I need to be responsible. We need to have a secure lifestyle. Like, we need stability. So I had to prove that Brightly could be stable for him to finally like start doing the thing he'd always wanted to do. And now he is always excited about his next ads client. And, oh, here are these 3 ways I thought we could improve Brightly. And my dad started an accounting business, and that he's an entrepreneur too. And the advice that he always told me when I was little was to surround yourself with the smartest people you know within your business. And so Chad is really smart, and I'm not just his wife saying that. So I was like, if I could have that, like all of the very strategic, like black and white strategy thoughts and finance ideas inside Brightly, that could be really big for us. So persistence is my best friend.
I will say it's impressive that you guys work so well together, because I know a lot of people that try a husband-wife duo doesn't always end up too well. Not because
I was going to say that. Like, how is that? Do you ever feel like you get sick of each other because you're around each other like all the time?
I know a lot of people would, but I really don't. And I know that's probably annoying to hear.
No, that's a good thing. Yeah. That's a good thing.
We posted a reel that like went mini viral, and it's because people misunderstood my messaging. I basically said something about the fact that my husband had put in his 2 weeks notice, and I meant it was about American Express, but people took it as like a divorce
for you.
And there were so many funny comments on it that were like, yeah, you go girl, divorce his ass, and all of this.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
But Chad also takes that as his like claim to fame because it's one of our best performing Instagram reels of all time, and he was like, "It's because I'm in it." But,
oh my gosh! If you ever get divorced, that's the only way.
It's the only way to announce it.
You have to,
through a massive reel. Yeah, no. As a whole, we have very separate things that we do, so we kind of operate as the lead in those areas, and it works really well. There's also Kenna on the other side. So really the conflict is between Kenna and Chad, because they've got this brother-sister little feud where Chad's like, look at all the risks. And Kenna's like, look at all the ways it could succeed. And then they both look at me and I'm like, I'm going to need a day to think on that.
I didn't even think about that related.
Yeah, that's complicated.
I usually can find a compromise. There's usually a middle of the road.
And that's why you do what you do. That's why you're in the seat that you're in. Okay, well, I love all the things that I've learned from you in just the few short months we've known each other. I was actually trying to think today, like, how long we've known each other and when you really became one of my people where I was like, ooh, I'm going to talk to Ness about this. I honestly don't remember. It was like not that long ago.
I met you at Edna's at that networking lunch. And it was in the summer. Yeah. So what, July? August? It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been that long. Yeah, like maybe 3 months or so. And then it just seems like we keep crossing paths.
No, I'm persistent, Joey. I'm intentional.
Is that what it is? No, that's so cool. I love being on the receiving end of that. No. There's kind of this group of entrepreneur women in the area that kind of attend a lot of the same events, and so it seems like we kind of just kept crossing paths, but yeah, and then now we've kind of set up our own little group of all of our favorites, and that are actually in our city, and that's been so much fun. But so now that the whole audience knows how and why I love you, let's talk about how and why they should love Brightly Social. So we've talked about that it's done for you social media. What is your secret sauce, though? What makes you guys truly the best in the biz? Because we both know you are. So just tell us like it is. Why is that?
I would say two things really make us stand out. And the first is that I am very detail oriented and I care about joining your team and not being on the outside. And so I get to know, we say things like we get to know your brand as well as you do, or better than you do, because we come in and we learn all of the things so that when we are creating your content, it sounds like it's you. I have a few clients who don't want to tell people that they have a social media manager. They want it to seem like it is them. And nobody knows, because I have written down literal, here are the phrases that she says. Here are, these are the 10 ways I would describe her tone, the 10 ways I would describe her voice. And every time I learn something new, I add it to this massive strategy doc that helps me just stay in line with that and for my team to stay in line with this business owner. So we really get into the nitty gritty of, we're great ghost writers is what I would say. So there's that one. And then the other is that by having Kenna on our team, even though she does all things brand and web design, she comes in and creates a full slate. She comes in and creates all of these branded social media templates for our clients. So their page looks professionally branded by someone who is a brand designer. So it's gorgeous. We have real covers. We do their highlight bubbles. Everything is just seamlessly gorgeous. And then we really, it's not a focused, beautiful, perfect patterned grid that used to be the thing 3 years ago. But because Kenna has come in and made those templates, our feeds and our stories look beautiful, even if we're just like using whichever one. And it comes across really random but intentional. So it's aesthetically so pleasing. So we really, interior designers and people in the wedding industry love us. The industries that are very visual and aesthetic, we're a really great fit for that. So those are our two really huge strengths.
As women, life demands a lot from us, but there is no reason for you to put your business goals on hold. At the Profitability Project, we understand that your business can't be your whole life. Balancing personal life and work is always hard, and we want to help you make the most of every day. We are here to craft financial strategies to help you achieve the lifestyle you want. With options ranging from online courses to done-for-you services, you'll discover new ways to maximize profitability, streamline your operations, and take the guesswork out of taxes. We have what you need to take your business to the next level. Interested? Learn more about the Profitability Project at theprofitabilityproject.com. That's theprofitabilityproject.com. Get ready to grow your business without sacrificing your entire life.
You touched on a couple, but who benefits the most from hiring Brightly Social?
Well, I'm always aiming for female small business owners, specifically female service-based businesses are our sweet spot. We're less in the product side and we're more in the services. And interior design and the wedding industry are like areas we've kind of unintentionally expanded into. We were gunning for women in general in the service-based businesses, but those two have been really big for us. But especially people who are just starting to take off and are starting to feel overwhelmed with all that's going on in their business. We are like, you're at that 3-year mark where everything's really starting to flow and work out. That is when Brightly comes in and we are like great partners for you guys.
Is there a time or a type of person who is too big?
So there is a point in which you have a marketing team in-house. And so there's somewhere, I probably haven't been in business long enough to find out exactly where that is in the growth of each of these businesses. But when you have a full-blown marketing team, social media management usually goes in-house.
And I asked that question because we're right there with you, right? That's our same exact model, except on the finance side, is we come in right when you're a little overwhelmed and you
Yeah.
can't quite bootstrap it anymore, but you're ready to grow. You're ready to take it to the next level. And it's been interesting as we kind of watch this fractional market take off. And I know that's not necessarily how you market, but in a way, you kind of fit that role for small businesses. And it's interesting to see it take off. And I like to ask other people in that space that question because I think when I first started, I was like, oh, yeah, there's a point where you should have an in-house finance team. And that's probably still true, right? At some point, it becomes a full-time job and multiple full-time jobs because there's so much going on. And yet I haven't reached it yet.
I don't like in theory, yes, but I'm still here and I'm still working with businesses who have now marketing people. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't
it's
know
like, wait, I can still do good. Yeah. And I love, I mean, I can speak to this a little bit just because we share, like I said, this kind of same space, but I love that small businesses can now afford expert talent. I love that not only that, because they, it's one thing to pay Ness, who is super experienced and has all this background knowledge. But one of my very favorite things is that we're continually getting background knowledge outside of your company as we work with all of our other clients that eventually comes back around to you,
Right.
Like I'm learning faster than any CFO that's in a one full-time job because I'm getting 12 different jobs or 20 different jobs all at the same time.
Yes.
And so, especially in marketing, finance changes, but not as much. Marketing, it seems like anymore, we're talking changes on the daily, it feels like. I mean, you just said 3 years ago that was a big thing and now it's not. And like, I don't even know what is in right now. Maybe you can shed some light on that. But to have somebody that's so in the know because you are literally inundated from multiple different industries, that's a different level of expertise. So it's pretty awesome that small businesses can not only pay for an expert, but pay for like a mega expert
Well,
like yourself.
there are a few clients that I have NDAs with who are massive and just don't want to have the social media person in-house. They don't want their social media management in-house anymore. So I don't know how they got to that decision. I'm happy about it. It's great for me and my team.
We're not going to question it. We will not question it.
Great.
Yes.
But I do think the idea that this is where we are the experts in, and by hiring me, you're hiring someone on my team who's a specialist in video, someone who's a brand designer and can do all of your branded graphic design. Like I get to hire out now into my team, into people who are experts in all of these things. And that's, it's awesome.
We feel the same. We feel the same. It is so cool when you have world-class web design and world-class social media because you've got 4 people on Brightly Social's team that are working for you. Yeah. So you have 4 different kinds of experts. It's really pretty magical. It'll be interesting to see where it goes over the next few years. And I honestly feel more and more companies are going to switch to this model because like you said, they get bigger and bigger and they're still just like, but why would I pay for somebody in-house? Then I have to do all the HR. I've got to onboard them. I've got to train them. I've got to do all these things. And people like us, we come to the table with, this is how the onboarding is going to go. I know all the access I need. I've done this a million times today, So it's pretty cool from the business owner side of it when I think about onboarding somebody like Brightly or hopefully myself, right? It's pretty cool that I can come to you and say, I know nothing. I don't even know where to start. I'm major amateur hour over here. And you can come in and tell me what to do instead of if I were to hire marketing in-house, I'm expected to train them. And now you're training me. Like, it's just, it's amazing because it's one less thing.
Yeah.
It's less thing for me to think about. It's actually like 150 less things, I think, is how many. It seems like that I have to worry about. And I know it's going to take off way faster and way cheaper than having somebody in-house. So, okay, that was a really long tangent that I did not mean to go on, but I'm glad we did. Okay, let's see. I had something else that I was going to ask you and it's gone.
I think like what I love about you is like that you integrate so fully into like your clients' world. And I think sometimes a lot with social media management, people are just like, oh, we're just going to do like the same trends and we're just going to like do all these things. And it's just very like high level. They don't get to know you. And that I think can be frustrating. But I just love that you're like, no, like I'm in your business. I know what you eat for lunch. I know, you know what I mean? Like I know you so that I can help you. And I just think that that's just so beautiful that like, you are willing to go in and do that, and obviously it makes you the best in the business, you know. So.
Well, thanks. I have one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing Chat GPT. Like I will call out, well, no, okay, I don't call people out, but I'll send a post and say their Chat GPT is showing. Like yeah. Everyone asks me if I think AI will take over social media management. And I'm like, it's a great tool, but it can't replicate your voice and your brand, not the way that I can. Yeah. So
I mean, I was just going to say this because we talked about this the other day. In theory, it can, but how many times have I been sitting at my computer and this is how I'm doing my social media right now in the 10 seconds that I do it, is I write everything I want to say. Like everything. It's like pages long, right? Like
that's a good
I just brain dump when I'm feeling creative. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And then I dump that into ChatGPT and I'm like, write me Instagram posts, but keep it in my voice and keep it in my tone and like use my level of casualness or whatever. I love my writing. I think it's like that's what I want our brand to sound like is me, right? I think that every business owner wants that. And so I want it to replicate it, but sometimes I just don't know how to say it in a way that engages people or converts people or whatever. So then I ask ChatGPT to do it. I'm not kidding you. On Friday, I was about to throw my computer through the wall. I'm like, if you use the words thriving landscape one more fetching time, I'm going to lose my mind. Like,
oh my gosh, thrive is such a ChatGPT word. Thrive. It's everywhere.
Landscape. There's just those buzzwords. And I'm like, I literally told you to keep my tone. What are you doing? And so in theory, I think that there would probably be people who say, no, yeah, it can. I'm telling you, I don't have time to make it. You know what I mean? Like and honestly, I know your prices. So for someone who's at our level of business, or maybe even just a little bit like that sweet spot that you were talking about, where you're just a little bit overwhelmed, you're ready to grow and you're ready to take it to that next level and you just don't know how. For the price point that you guys are sitting at, I'm telling you, your time is more valuable than sitting with ChatGPT trying to make it work and just letting Ness do it, because she will make it work in a way that actually sounds like you. So yeah, it's just, I agree with you. I think there's so many advantages. It's a tool, not a solution, right? Like that's kind of how we say things. QuickBooks. Love QuickBooks. That's not your finance team. Your finance team will use it. So let's talk about what's in for social media right now. I'm a small business owner. I am consistently overwhelmed with the idea of marketing. I talk about this on the podcast a lot especially when we have marketing people come on. I'm like, I know what I want to say, cannot figure out how to say it in a way that makes me customers. Like it just makes me crazy. But additionally, I'm like, am I supposed to be on LinkedIn? Am I supposed to be doing dances on TikTok? Am I supposed to be on Instagram? If I'm on Instagram, should I be doing posts or reels? How often should I be doing these things? Do I need to have speaking engagements? Do I need to go door knocking? Like all of the things to get these words that are in my head of why I know my business is great and why your business needs my business. Actually getting that out into the world is such a monumental task. So talk to me like I'm stupid. What and where do I start and what's important? And I mean, obviously step one, hire Brightly Social Co. But let's say I've got to go from zero to when I can afford to hire Brightly Social Co. What do I do?
Our biggest mistakes you could make is to spread yourself too thin, because burnout is real. And I have watched so many business owners that I have either coached when coaching used to be something I offered, to just friends that I know and people in the industry, is that they'll post for 3 months and then they'll burn out and they'll be gone for 3 months and then they'll come back for a month and then they'll be out for a month. And that inconsistency is not it's not great for the algorithm. It's not great for your community, because they're now watching you disappear, come back, disappear, come back. So anything you're doing with marketing, it needs to be something you can do consistently. So I am all about going all in on one channel. So if you actually look at Brightly, I have a lot going on in my life right now. I am running a lot of people's social media accounts. Yes, I do have a big team, but still I'm overextended at the moment. I am all in on Instagram. And we have prepped our Pinterest strategy, and that is our next launch, is Pinterest. But we're holding it because we are going all in on Instagram, and I refuse to burn out and only go halfway or half-assed on one of these channels. So pick one thing and be really fully present there, is my number one tip to someone who is overwhelmed by all the marketing things. The second thing I usually ask people as they start to create their own strategy and figure out what they want to create is to go on a 2-week scrolling hiatus, because it's really hard to figure out who your brand is and how you want to market when you're looking at how 100 other people are doing it. And it only inundates you with so much information that you can't consume, and it usually paralyzes you. So go on your scrolling hiatus, or pick your 1 or 2 channels that you have the bandwidth for long-term. And long-term isn't 3 months. I mean a year, 2 years, 3 years. Then go on a scrolling hiatus. And then I really love, Joey, when you were talking about your brain dump. This is when I want you to write everything down, all of your ideas, any way that you could make content, any idea you've ever had. I want it collected all in one spot. Then I want you to give it 24 hours. You're not allowed to go through it. You're not allowed to parse through. After you've had 24 hours, you're going to go be critical about that list. When you've written it the day before, no idea is a bad idea. But the next day when you look at it, now you get to go through with a red pen and go, that one's only okay. That's not reaching my target audience. And that way you get to actually whittle down to the best things you have to say. And then those things that are still on your list, I want you to repeat over and over and over again on your social media. A lot of the time, I think we spread ourselves too thin and we think, I want to tell everyone these 1,000 things. But I really like the idea of saying one thing 1,000 times. So one of the themes that you'll see everywhere in my messaging, if you're going to go actually scroll through my post, you'll be like, oh my gosh, Ness just says this all the time. I am constantly referencing failing on social media and trying again. And I say it in a lot of different ways. I say you're going to see zeros in your Instagram insights. I say the people who are succeeding on social media right now are the people who try again. I say social media is an experiment, because you're seeing what works and what doesn't work. But that means you have to see what doesn't work to find what does work. So those are some of the things I would do. I don't know if I fully answered your question, but as far as what's in, it's what's in is what's in your bandwidth, honestly.
Ooh, I love that. Mic drop. What's in is what's in your bandwidth is the most calming, reassuring, energizing sentence you could have possibly said. Because like I said, I mean, I don't know if this is just a me problem. I really don't believe that it is. It feels, especially when you're starting out. I mean, I remember a year ago, we were like, let's try, I think we're supposed to be on social media. So then we just start posting crap, and we're filming trendy audios and doing all these things. And I look back now and I'm like, why did we do that? Yeah, okay, you know what I mean? Again, I'm like, yay, okay. But first things first is that helped us learn what we didn't like and didn't want to do. But second is that now I look at our social media, and is it everything I ever wanted ever? Yes, because Becca's doing amazing. But also, are there other things that I feel like I could say, yeah, you know what I mean? We're still learning. But when I look at the last 2-3 months of our social media compared to the history of our business, I'm really proud of what we have been able to churn out. And it's because we've churned out so much, good and bad. Not all of it's good, but we're learning so much every day just because we're just we're just going for it. Yeah. We're just going for it. And so I love yeah, that's going to have to be like a mission statement for marketing. That is our marketing plan. What's in is what's in your bandwidth. Like,
I
it's
feel like that
okay.
should be like the title of our podcast.
That should be a plaque.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I just now discovered the book you're going to write, Ness,
Yeah.
on social media, because that answers all those fears of I'm not doing enough, I'm doing it wrong. You know, all those things. Kenzie, did you mean to raise your hand? Because you did. Okay.
We would love to hear from you if you did.
Please, Mackenzie, go ahead.
I don't even know how I did that, if I'm being honest. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, I'm cracking up. If you ever felt the need to raise your hand on the podcast that you co-host, then you could just fire me. Just be done with me at that point.
I don't know how I did that. So
that's so funny. Anyways, yes. What's in is what's in your bandwidth. And I think it, you know, kind of sidetrack to that. Disagree with me if you feel the need to, but it's okay that you're going to look stupid half the time. You will probably put something up that's extremely cringy and you might regret 5 years from now. And oh, freaking well, because at least you showed up and someone's talking about your brand, even if it's bad.
Yeah. If you're not,
even if it's cringy.
I really think if you're not willing to fail, you can't grow. Because you have to look like a fool sometimes. You have to try something outside of your comfort zone. There are people have like told me that they're very like nervous about what people from high school will think. And I'm like, you know what? You're never going to talk to them again. Just set that fear down. That's not what's important here. Because at the end of the day, you're trying something and other people aren't. And I think that's brave as hell. And that will be recognized, especially as you try and try again.
Let's talk about failure a little bit.
Oh,
because
I love talking about it.
I'm really big into, first of all, I consistently believe that failure is the best tool for growth and am equal parts so angry and sad and frustrated when I fail at things. I hate it. I hate failing. I hate it so much. So for my own personal gain, twice a month, I remind myself that failure is good. And all of the women that I look up to and interview on this podcast have also failed and they're still killing it. And so it's good for me personally. I hope it's good for our listeners, but I ask all of our interviews or the people that we interview on the podcast, what's your biggest failure and what you learned from it and why you're happy that it happened?
So this time last year, we went through a massive rebrand. And it was because Kenna and I had chosen the wrong audience. And it took us a long time to figure out they were speaking to the wrong person. We were speaking for a long time to an audience who couldn't afford us. And it took us a long time to figure that out. A lot of discovery calls and a lot of effort. And the final thing that made us realize we needed to rebrand and change audiences was we launched something called the Last Minute Club. And the Last Minute Club was supposed to be something that helped you with your social media management. It gave you your prompts for all of your posts that week. It gave you your trending audios. You've seen other social media managers do this. It's basically a HubSpot where you can just go for kind of like a quick post idea. The caption was half drafted. You were just supposed to fill in the blanks. So I made this and we had so few signups. And this was at a time where I had just had my son. I was postpartum and I was spending this valuable time where I didn't have that much time working on something that only 3 people signed up for. And it was devastating. And I went on so many evening walks because apparently when I'm sad, I walk outside in the evening. I'm pretty sure there were like 3 nights in a row where I was crying on that walk and the same neighbor saw me. I was like, she must think I am a mess. But I think we really needed to hit that wall to be brave and do the rebrand. And I never outwardly marketed social media management as a full service until after the rebrand. That was something I just had under the table because I was nervous about building an agency. And that was like a final, well, this is what you're best at. This is what your current clients are doing for you that other people just don't know about. So you need to be brave and do the thing and build an agency. And so that was it. That was a huge turning point for us. So massive failure. Yes, I cried a ton, but it led to huge growth and me finally getting on the right path for Brightly. So good and bad. And I think that's the problem. A lot of good, a lot of bad.
Yes. And at no point are we saying just because it turned out well in the end, it wasn't freaking hard in the middle. And it probably lasted way longer than you thought it should. And, I mean, if you haven't been there yet as a business owner, buckle up because it's coming for you.
Yeah, it's really shaking to be like, oh, just kidding. Yeah. Maybe not.
Yeah, but this is what I love, Ness, is you didn't lower your prices. First of all, you didn't give up. So that's step number one in the right direction. But the fact that you didn't go, well, I guess I'm not as good as I thought I was, so I better lower my prices because everyone's saying no to the price. So I guess I'm not worth as much as I thought I was. That isn't what you said. You said, I'm talking to the wrong people who can't afford it, and you kept your prices. And not only that, but you just said that you started talking about your highest ticket item, which was done for you services, the most. And that's what got you out of your price issue of something that was, my guess, worth a lot less dollar-wise.
Yes.
Is that true?
100%.
So people were saying no to your prices. And so you went for your bigger ticket item. And you went after bigger clients.
I went for the thing that was already working. And I think some people are scared to do the thing that's bigger. Like the higher ticket item. I'm like, I can't advertise this much money to all these people. They'll think I'm crazy. I'm like, no, like this is a massive service. I have a big team. We're ready to go. So yes, I really hate, I don't really believe in deals and lowering your prices for those deals. Not when you're a high-end service-based business that's doing something this massive.
Yeah. And how do you, as a business owner, maybe this isn't a problem for you, but it is for me sometimes, and for a lot of people that I talk to and consult with, how do you keep the confidence in that pricing and in that level of service when people are saying no to your lower ticket items? I mean, how do you say, yeah, it's not me, that's the problem, I know I'm freaking good at this? What do you rely on?
So I think sometimes when I'm having an emotional response like that, where I'm doubting myself, I have to go really black and white into the logic of it. And so that's when like pulling up a P&L sheet or looking at all of the hours of my team going into a project and being like, no, that is the price. If we need this much profit, this much towards taxes, like seeing it in black and white really helps me go, no, this is my price. And it helps me not question it. So I get really logical when I'm nervous or insecure or something. Yeah.
I love it. Just knowing how much it would cost you if you did it.
Yeah.
For the wrong price.
This is it. You can go find someone else, but they're hiring a 19-year-old with no experience. And I know you don't want that. If you want me, that's what you want.
Yes, we talk a lot about in RevOps the differentiation matrix, which I've never talked about, I don't think, on this podcast. But basically, when you line up yourself next to all your competition, which type of brand do you want to be? Are you the discount brand that's charging the least amount? Is that what you want? Because if you are, yeah, go lower your prices. Like if you are designed to be the discount brand, go be the discount brand and make sure that you are that. Or are you the quality brand who's offering the most value for the amount of money? That does not mean lowering your prices to meet that. It means that your prices are more expensive than the discount brand, but you're not quite luxury, but you're providing somewhere service-wise in the middle. Or maybe you are the luxury brand, and then you better be priced at the highest amount or you will lose money left and right. Are you convenience, or are you, there's 5 or 6 different ones, but knowing which one you fall into and then making sure that your price and your service level align with where you want to be, that just kind of eliminates all the noise, I think, for us of like you're saying, right? If you want to go hire a 19-year-old for $100, please do. That is the discount brand. That's not who I am. I don't want to be that person. So I love that. I love that you mentioned looking at your P&L. You know how much joy that brings me. Ness knows my love languages.
I like numbers. I really do.
Yes, it's important. That's why you have to like actually know how much it's going to cost you. We have clients all the time who will come to us and be like, well, we really want this contract and we think that it's worth, getting it for X, Y, and Z reason, but they only want to pay us this. And my job is to remind them that's fine, but remember, if you're going to have to pay your time or your staff's time or these 5 softwares or this much in cost of goods or whatever it might be, you're not making any money. And you told me at the start of this relationship that you wanted to make more money. So like, what are we doing? It's easy to forget, especially when you're in those moments of doubt. Like, I just need customers. I'll take anybody. That doesn't always mean more money in your pocket. It feels like it. It doesn't always mean that. So I love that you look at the numbers to get out of your head.
The other failure that I've done, and I would actually call this a big mistake, is that I did not understand how expensive and time consuming it was to hire out of state. And as someone that's running around in my 20s hiring my first people, I hired someone in Florida and I hired someone in California, and damn it, I'm still so mad about it.
Just so everybody knows, I totally bragged Ness to say this. It is very much true.
It is. I cried over taxes, not any of the ones I did in Utah or federal taxes, but I missed forms for Florida. I didn't know. Did you know they don't do any of their forms online? So who's printing out crap and mailing it to Florida?
Yeah.
Yep. Paying penalties. I couldn't get someone on the phone. It was so bad. So
let's talk for 5 seconds about how all the different states have all different taxes and all different rules and all different forms, and some only want your gross revenue, and others want every district you've ever been in and every city you've ever slept in, and they want to know how long you ever spent time there. And you're like, why do you need to know this, but Washington doesn't, but California does, but Florida needs to know how many pets you have? Like, it is the most ridiculous system in the history of the world. I'm pretty sure Kenzie and I could soapbox on this for an entire podcast episode, and maybe we will. But it's hard sometimes for us to explain because it sounds like we just don't want to go open a state for you.
No, but like, I hired an intern. Like, what was I thinking? The person in Florida was only working like 15 hours a week. Like, what? It was so bad. It's fine.
It's fine.
I at least closed up
Lesson learned.
In Florida. It's fine. And California has been worth it because that is where Kenna lives. But do I ask Kenna to move to Utah every month? You betcha. Will I get there? Probably not. But I will.
Persistence. We talked about this. You never give up.
Guys. You never know.
Yeah. I also ask my team members to move to Utah once a month, if not more often. And they haven't taken me up on it. Yeah. So
Mackenzie also lives in an expensive state that you should not ever hire in.
Very true. Washington is up there on that list for me. Yeah. That is also like hiring employees, but also anything that's going to get you to economic nexus in that state is just be aware of the investment and know if it's worth it or not. That's all we're asking. Yep. If it's going to be worth it for you,
a little bit of research, please.
Yeah. So if I'd known you would have told me no. You would have slapped me silly.
Oh yeah, I would have. Yeah. Absolutely. Wait till I stick Kenzie on you. Kenzie's way more passionate about it than I am because she's the one stuck doing it. Kenzie's like, seriously? No, it's good. It's fine. Just make sure you know what you're getting into. On average, it costs like $7,000 to open a new state. It's just, as a small business, you don't have that kind of money. You just don't. Just don't. Go hire Brightly Social instead, please. That's
that'd be a great use of your money.
5 months of Brightly Social at their basic level. Like, I'm just doing that math in my head. That's probably not true. But okay, Ness, tell us where we can learn more about you. Where can we find you? How can we sign up with you and work with you? Tell us where to start.
Instagram is our main social media channel. We are there all the time, daily. And then our website, you can hang out with us on brightly.socialco.com. And we've just started our next step in what we were investing in is our newsletter, and it's growing, you guys. So you can join us in our newsletter. Joey already referenced it. It's like you knew. So you can sign up for that on my website or just on our Instagram as well. So those are the places you can hang out with us. And then our next steps for anyone who'd want to work with Brightly Social Co. is filling out the inquiry form on our website. And then we'd send you a discovery call link and we can just chat and see if we're a good fit.
Love it. If nothing else, sign up for the newsletter because it will inspire content of your own. Spoken from somebody who has maybe used some ideas from the newsletter on my own social media. Okay, it's fine. It's worth it.
It's fine. I've already have a post idea from this right here, so this is great.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for talking about Brightly. Thanks for all you do to inspire us over here at TPP, and for letting us spend an hour of our workday chatting with you. This is great.
I've been looking forward to this. Thank you for having me. I think you guys are all so cool, and I just will be following your content every day. Just don't mind scraping all of your content and commenting.
Will you actually commit to commenting when our chat GPT is showing? Please, I beg of you.
I would never comment. Maybe message. I would DM that.
Please DM us.
DM us.
I'll DM you. Don't worry.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that's what Brightly's known for. Chat GPT police.
Picking apart all the content. That would make me stir. Thanks for tuning in to the Profitability Podcast. For more business and finance content, follow us on Instagram at The Profitability Project LLC or visit our website at theprofitabilityproject.com.